Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel here at Crypto Nation. Hey, this is going to be another episode of Crypto Nation Reacts. Here we have um, the Altcoin Daily. Um, Title is Bitcoin Price Ready to Explode to 150K. And it says three expert predictions. Anyways, let's see what they're talking about. Before we get started, hey, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for post notifications. And also, I just want to say, hey, thanks to all my recently new subscribers. It means a lot. Hey, let's get started.
Halving tonight, get some slightly more positive news out of the Middle East, which would be fantastic. And I suspect that can then see Bitcoin start to retrend higher. I'm still looking for $150,000 by the end of this year.
Standard Chartered Bank analyst has doubled down on their $150,000 Bitcoin prediction, reiterating that Bitcoin is still on track to reach $150,000 by the end of this year. These are his reasons why.
I'm going to reiterate what you just said. With Bitcoin trading below 65,000, your year-end forecast 150,000 per coin for Bitcoin and 200,000 by the end of 2025. What are the specific reasons for your expectations that we'll see a notable lift from here?
So part of it is those ETF inflows. As I mentioned, they've stalled for now, but I anticipate going from the start of this year to when the ETF market in the US is mature, we'll get between 50 and $100 billion of inflow. So far we've had 12 billion, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I suspect that can now happen over about an 18 month to 24 month period. When that happened for gold, when we went in the US from no spot ETF market in 2004 to that market gradually maturing, the price of gold multiplied by 4.3 times. So that could get us to that 150 to 200,000 range as sort of input number one. Input number two is over time when you have enough investors, i.e. investors are fully sated in terms of their Bitcoin exposure, which hasn't been the case before the ETFs, but over time, if we get those ETF flows that should be where we end up. In terms of a portfolio between Bitcoin and gold, you should get to about 80% gold, 20% Bitcoin. And for that, even if gold prices were to go sideways, again, that gets you to that $150,000 to $200,000 mark in terms of Bitcoin. So there's a few factors that are all driving to roughly the same level. I think medium term, if we get to 200,000, because of the institutional flows as well, it's much more likely that Bitcoin won't have a large retracement, which it did have in previous cycles.
So, do you think that a 150,000 Bitcoin price by end of year, is this realistic? Some people would argue that since everybody is thinking this, it won't happen. But if nobody thinks this is going to happen, maybe it is more likely. Or maybe everybody thinks this is going to happen, so this is too conservative. Anthony Scaramucci gives his updated investment thesis on Bitcoin. He thinks that a $150,000 Bitcoin price is likely, but his price prediction, is actually a bit higher. Interesting perspective. Listen.
Bitcoin is on an adoption curve. If you go back to Web 1, Bitcoin is sort of in the 1999 point in the spectrum. And so just imagine where we went from Web 1 to where we are today. And so my point is you won't see this be a inflation hedge or a store of value, as other pundits are saying, until you get over 1 billion users. And so right now, it's going to be way more volatile than people like. And people look at it as a risk-on or risk-off trade until we get to that adoption curve. That's my point.
And given the adoption curve, what do you see right now as the upside and number, and what do you see as the downside number, call it 12 months?
Well, I mean, look, you could get shocks like wars, and you could get, God forbid, a terrorist calamity or something like that could take Bitcoin down 10 or 15%. But I think you have a heavy bid on Bitcoin because of the demand from the ETFs and from the eventual drivers of things like the wirehouses that will enter the space, as well as the 401k market. So I don't think you have 50% downside, but you could have 10 or 15% downside just because it's still a risk-on, risk-off asset. But long-term, I think this thing trades to 170, possibly to $200,000, and that's consistent with.
Bingo. So yeah, guys. Me personally, I highly believe that. I kept saying I'm predicting by this summer, between late May and September, I believe we're going to see a parabolic run because we're already past the Bitcoin halving. I'm telling you, this is gearing up. We got the whole thing with RWAs, real world assets. I'm telling you, man, Web3, AI. I'm telling you, man, this is going to take off, man. I'm telling you, man, this crypto bull run is going to be violent, man. It's going to be to the point where, you know, um, like one day we're going to wake up like, wow, we're into some, life changing gains. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, this crypto market is getting ready to explode. Let's let's get ready. Like I said, this summer, man, it's gonna explode. Like they're saying, 150 to 170 Bitcoin by the end of 2024. Between 150, I'll say it about. I was more conservative. I usually said 125 to 125,000 to 150,000 Bitcoin by this. You know, um, by the end of the year. But let's see, man. It's gonna get spicy.
Where it's been over the 15 years of Bitcoin.
Look, it's normal to be skeptical. If investing was easy, everybody would make money. Unfortunately, most people are going to buy the top. Here is a message from Anthony Scaramucci to all Bitcoin skeptics. I actually sent this video to my best friend who is also wondering about this.
Nothing dims my light like a migraine. With Nurtec ODT, I found relief.
The only migraine medication.
Watch.
You guys have a lot of skepticism on the Des. I think the skepticism is well founded. I started out as a skeptic. I think what got me past being a skeptic is the notion that this is immutable. It's decentralized in a way that makes it very powerful. The network itself is scaling. And if you think about the way we treat money in our society over the last 5,000 years, Bitcoin checks all of the boxes. The only box it doesn't check is central bank manipulation, which I think it makes it way more powerful. And so at $1.4 trillion, could this trade to half the market capitalization of gold, where gold is $16 trillion today? We believe it can. We actually think it's going to go through the market capitalization of gold. And if you're making the point that the American owners in an ETF are not going to be enough to get it there, I disagree, because over time the acceptance regulatorily is going to allow people to put it in the portfolio. A 1% position in these global portfolios takes it there.
So everybody is talking about post-Bitcoin halving predictions now. And I think CNBC's longtime Bitcoin expert, Brian Kelly, here perfectly lays out the Bitcoin investment thesis for the rest of this year. This is exactly what will send Bitcoin to $150,000.
Joining us now to talk about the effects of the halving on all things crypto is our resident Bitcoin aficionado, Brian Kelly. It's great to have you here.
Good to be here.
What do you expect? Are we going to see another 450% rise after this halving, or does the effect sort of dissipate each time?
So I think it's certainly the halving effect is going to dissipate. If you talk about how many dollars into the market this is, you're talking about last week it was about $60 million a day of sell pressure. That's now cut in half to $30 million a day. But you're talking about $1 trillion market. So it's very, very small. So I think if anything, it's going to be the psychological impact of it and the fact that we're all saying, hey, look at this 4-year cycle that we have out there. Probably what's more important, though, is when you get to see some of these bigger brokerage firms come online. So Morgan Stanley, UBS, once they are online and they can have their customers start come into Bitcoin, that's a lot of pent-up demand.
What about with the ETFs? How does that change the game now? Because last halving, we didn't have ETFs.
That's right. And I think actually it changes tremendously. That's why Morgan Stanley and UBS are so important, because up to this point, they have not been able to buy those ETFs. Their clients haven't been able to buy it. So if you think about it, you now has an asset with the most demand it's ever going to have, right? You've got all these people just able to come on, and supply has been cut. Coins on exchange are down. So you're having a whole bunch of pent up and potential demand hitting lower supply. To me, that's the bullish setup for Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is an easy 2 to 3x from here, yes, but now attention is starting to turn into the altcoin market. Brian Kelly gives his picks.
What are some other ways that you're thinking about playing this? If you do take that 10 to 20 year view that it's going to be this ecosystem that's created, other than the ETF, other than buying Bitcoin straight out, what are some other things that viewers should look at?
Yeah, so I would look at some of the other coins. So that would be Ethereum. Ethereum and Solana are probably the two that you could buy this cycle, because those are going to be the ones that the new financial system's built on top of. So decentralized finance, heard about DeFi. Those are the two that are really in the lead for building that.
Ethereum and Solana are solid picks for sure. Guys, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be releasing a new top altcoin video for May very soon.
That's funny. They said Ethereum and Solana, but they never talk about the smaller coins. Like if you notice in the media, they never talk about the low caps. But we all know, like, well, a few of us know it's going to be as far as retail, it's going to be the low caps. The low caps that's going to give retail the life-changing gains. Of course, institutions, they're picking up the blue chips. Like, we just saw that with Hedera, with the real world assets, tokenization with BlackRock. So, but as far as us retail, we want to go with those low caps. That's what we're going to get those gains. Because why? Because we can buy a lot more coins at cheaper price. But, that's just basic, common sense.
Fully back, my friends. This is after being gone for about a week to attend Token 2049 in Dubai and catch the karate combat fights. Hope you enjoyed our content while we've been gone, but we are back fully with the regular content, so make sure you subscribe. Top altcoin video coming out soon.
Anyways, that'll wrap it up for that episode of Crypto Nation Reacts to the Altcoin Daily. So yeah, tell me guys what you guys think. You guys gonna think Bitcoin's gonna hit about 150K by the end of the year? Me personally, I think it's gonna easily get there. Like I said, it can get higher than 150K. Like I said, but I think by beginning of 2025, we could possibly see 175K Bitcoin. Yeah, 150, 175. By then, a lot of us in retail is going to be already made our life-changing money. As far as, made the life-changing money. As far as, with the smaller, with the alts. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're definitely going to get that life-changing money. Life-changing gains. But anyways, guys, that is what's going on. Oh, look at Bunk. Bunk pumped today. Oh, wow. Oh, it pumped to 26% of a penny. Yeah, Bunk is doing very well, man. It's up 76% for the week. Wow, Bunk is doing its thing. Wow, it's doing its thing. Back up to 26% during the last flash crash. It actually pulled back to like 12, 13, 4 zeros, 13, 12. Wow, I'm going to have to do a separate video on that. But anyways, guys, that's my update on the Altcoin Daily Crypto Nation Reacts. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, support the channel. PayPal, Cash App is in the description, or get the channel membership, $3 a month, because I will be dropping some content for the private members. But anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.